This is South Florida One with you here once again, and it's the talk of 70s culture, fads, music, and Florida folklore. And today, I've got an interesting one for you today. It is about haunted Florida, all different locations that are rumored to be haunted, and the stories behind them are very interesting. So let's sit back and start the show, and I will go through each one. There was quite a few of them. I'm saving the best for last, and you'll see why. Okay, it's something that maybe hardly anybody has ever heard of. That's why, oh, hello. Thank you for joining, Slim Pickens. Glad you can join. I got an interesting show today, and it's about haunted Florida. And the first story I'm going to go ahead and begin with is called Spook Hill, and is located in Lake Wales Park. And there's a legend there that there's a rumor there that it's also called Gravity Hill, that if you park your car in neutral when you're at the bottom of the hill, your car will roll up. And the legend behind that, it's really strange. It was rumored that an Indian village was settled there, and they were constantly plagued by a lot of raids from a big gator, and the chief warrior had won a battle with the gator that turned the area into a small lake. And later on, a lot of postal mail carriers noticed their horses were going downstream. They were laboring downhill, and thus it was named Spook Hill. And what people are questioning is, with the car rolling up, they wonder if it's the gator trying to get revenge or the chief warrior trying to protect his land again, which that really doesn't, especially the gator, that really doesn't make sense. Oh, I'm glad. I'm on the 57 channel. Which one? The astrology one? Because I know there's AS57. I've made a lot of comments on that, and I've posted things everywhere else. And hopefully they're not negative ones. I hope not. I mean, we all have our opinions, but I'm glad you came on anyway. But anyway, that was Spook Hill, and the next one is in it's in Cassadaga, and it's a small unincorporated hamlet in Volusia County. And there sits the Devil's Chair, and it's a large brick wall, a large brick building that's fashioned into a bench. And let me backtrack. The small hamlet in Cassadaga is called the psychic capital of the world because several psychics and mediums have made their home there. And anyway, it's located in a small cemetery, and it's a huge red brick bench that was built by the devil himself, supposedly, and he returns there each night, and if anyone goes to sit in it, it's said that the devil sits there and whispers evil ideas in your ear, and you're forever haunted by them. And even stranger is if it's said if you put a full beer can unopened on the bench, you come back the next morning, the can is still there and it's unopened, but the beer is gone. So again, that's in Cassadaga in Volusia County. If anyone wants to take a trip there, I mean, I read all these and I would love to go in there, those areas and see that, because a lot of times I've been, especially in Key West, and I'm getting to those stories later, I've been in a lot of areas where I would hope I would see some paranormal activity there, and I've never really had that kind of luck. But the very last story, I'll tell you my experience. Anyway, that was a Devil's Chair. The next one is Sunshine Skyway Bridge, which is opened up in 1954, and it spans the mouth of Tampa Bay, connected with St. Pete on north, with Bradenton on the south. And it's been an infamous spot of suicide jumpers due to its very towering height. And more than 200 deaths have been reported over the years, according to a few news reports. And one that sticks out is drivers would encounter a beautiful blonde hitchhiker, and when the car stops to give her a ride, when it approaches the top of the span, she starts to cry. When the driver turns around to ask what's wrong, they find she's gone, she's vanished. Tragedy, the tragic event here is in 1980, the bridge was struck by a freighter and it collapsed the central span and killed 36 people, which was very tragic. And you wonder if this area, if people have noticed any more hauntings around this bridge due to the deaths by the freighter striking the bridge. That would be interesting to know, as well as the blonde hitchhiker. And the next story is about the Fairchild Oak. And it's a beautiful oak tree with a wide trunk and a lush canopy of branches and Spanish moss. A must visit when stopping at Bulow Creek State Park in Ormond Beach, where the tree is located. There is also an urban legend there that Fairchild was the site of several suicides, and legend has it that a ghostly apparition of a man is seen on the site, and those who stand beneath it feel some intense sorrow. And that's a very sad place to be. Yeah, that's very tragic. And next one, these three are from Key West. And this one I've been, all three areas I've been to. And the one is called the Hanging Tree, and it's in Captain Tony's Saloon. And it was rumored to have been where various pirates were hanged. And when the building was built, when the bar was built, nobody wanted the laborious task of removing the tree because it's really big. So they decided to build the enclosure around it. And in the past, it had formerly been served as a wireless telegraph station, a cigar factory, and a morgue. Well, the morgue, of course, was needed due to the execution of the pirates, thus the need for a morgue. And the floor in the 80s, it had been re-uploaded and renovated. And while renovating, several workers, it was rumored that several workers discovered several skeletons of more than a dozen bodies buried there, and even a holy water cistern that was still full. That's interesting. I think the best story here was that people were rumored to see a woman in blue flitting about the bar and mainly heading towards the restrooms and mainly making her presence in the men's room. And what would happen is anybody that ventured to go to the restroom, she would be there and she'd be chasing the men out. She'd be going, "Get out, get out, get out." And so I was spooked hearing that. And because I went there for the first time, sitting, in the bar, having a few drinks, having fun. Key West is like another world. I'm hoping to go there in July. Hopefully it'll open up and everything will be fine. And I know people will probably still be wearing masks, but anyway, to get back to the subject matter, I went to the restroom and I remember being so spooked, locked myself in, and I'm kind of frozen and I'm looking around. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have a heart attack if this woman makes her a visit here. Anyway, but yeah, she would scare mainly men out of the men's room and shouting at them, which is pretty, it's pretty spooky. So again, here, I'm going to have to stop the show for just a minute. I just have to gather more information, if you don't mind, but I will be back in 5 minutes.